Let's commence the proceedings of the day with a few verses from the Holy Quran. And for that, I would like to invite Mr. Koster Mahmood.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم.
Celebrated on every 10th November, the World Science Day for Peace and Development highlights the significant role of science in society and the need to engage the wider public in debates on emerging scientific issues. It also underscores the importance and relevance of science in our daily lives. This year's theme for the day, Science for and with Society, is quite pertinent as societies across the world are desperately seeking scientific solutions to the global menace we now know well as COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event has been made possible with the joint efforts of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Commission on Science and Technology for Sustainable Development in the South COMSATS, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation Standing Committee on Scientific and Technological Cooperation, COMSTECH, the Economic Cooperation Organization Science Foundation, ECOSF, the Pakistan Science Foundation, PSF, and the Pakistan Academy of Sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker for today, Professor Dr. Iqbal Chaudhry, is a world-renowned scientist in the field of natural product chemistry. In addition to important discoveries in his field, Dr. Iqbal has helped establish R&D infrastructure in Pakistan and abroad, in Africa, South and Central Asia. He also has several national and international awards and honors.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman-ar-Rahim, that Minister has to go for the cabinet meeting, and thank you very much for a generous introduction. We have to be short, brief, and focused, because I think we need to have this celebration in a grand manner, making sure that we all say something, but then we have ample time for the minister to speak, and also the guest of honor, Professor Dr. Rahman, who will be online at 11:05. And this is the reason why I cut my introduction short, though everybody likes a big introduction. Excellency, the Minister, Excellency Patricia McPhilip, representing UNESCO, and our partner organization, Eco-Science Foundation, COMSATS, Pakistan Science Foundation, and Pakistan Academy of Sciences. We have 5 diplomats, ambassadors from OIC member states, and we have lots of media and lots of distinguished scholars here. Number one, I would like to say that this is indeed an honor for us in COMSTECH, along with the other partners, to celebrate this grand World Science Day. And I think the most important context of it, that the theme of this year is very relevant. It is thought-provoking, because this is where we all have to converge. Science, we need to understand what science must do and how it must be done. While the relationship between development of science and technology and economic growth is so obvious, very often the linkages between science and society, science and culture, and science and global peace is elusive and often inadequately understood. Science and technological innovation had and will continue to have a profound impact on global transformation and economic gain. Emerging technologies of 21st century can provide opportunities to countries like ours to leap forward and catch up with the developed world by harnessing the creative potential of our youth. Science has empowered man to solve many of the enduring problems and obstacles, and it's going to continue to do that in future as well. However, science and technologies in their current forms and shapes cannot guarantee lasting peace and inclusive development. We need to have responsible science, where fruits of human ingenuity must reach to the one who needs them the most. The concept of ilm nafe, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me ilm nafe. This is the prophetic prayer, which means knowledge which benefits should really form the edifice of modern science. And today, unfortunately, science and technological innovation have created a skewed development paradigm which is unsustainable, harmful, and destructive. These are intentionally used strong words, but much needed to provoke global dialogues and appropriate actions. Today, science is used as a tool for establishing global hegemony, profiteering of technological monopolization, waging wars in distinct corners of the world without the fear of death and retaliation, creating a production sector which is damaging the environment beyond repair, a biophobic world of unabated human expansion without respect to other fellow living beings. Science, which was envisaged by great thinkers such as Ibn Rushd, Ibn Sina, Galileo, and Newton as common heritage of human intellect and a great equalizer, has unfortunately become a great divider. This year's theme for World Science Day invites us to go back to the basics, start looking science from the perspective of a philosopher. We have traveled together. I've had the honor of traveling with our minister to China. I found him reading books all the time, and we had such a wonderful discussion of the importance of science. And this is science and philosophy. And this is what I really feel is extremely important, that scientists start looking science from the perspective of a philosopher, embrace these characteristics of logic, reasoning, conceptual rigor, and most importantly, argumentation. Science which is independent of prejudice. A science, in the words of Albert Einstein, is not mere artisan. It is a real search of truth. That is what we need to have. Science should impregnate into society so we become more productive, rational, and most importantly, more tolerant. We at ComStack have been trying to build a strong science space within and beyond OIC region, the second largest bloc of countries after United Nations, which leads to an inclusive development and interconnectedness. Recently, Ministry of Science and Technology and ComStack together under the patronage of our minister have actually organized large exhibition at national level. And those exhibitions were COVID-19 technology related, which were extremely important because that has shown that within few months, what our country can do, innovation triggered by the need, and also AI in health, both related to COVID-19 technologies. We have had the honor of welcoming Prime Minister and President of Pakistan in two of these events also. We plan to do that in other OIC regions. The next destination is Egypt, the Smart Village. So we intend to have this Make OIC, Make Pakistan brands going beyond Pakistan, and that is what we intend to do. But we're also marketing Pakistan's excellence in other fields as well. For instance, Pakistan National Accreditation Council is a very credible organization. We are intending to have a large capacity building of OIC countries in the field of international standards. We also intend to have Water Research Institute, which is established in NAD, linked with our Center of MOS and also with the International UNESCO program. So there are lots of other programs which we have initiated. The objective is that we work together with our partners in OIC and beyond and do a useful thing which eventually led to international cooperation, a greater interconnectedness, and also a world which should not really fail in next pandemic. In this pandemic, the world has failed. This was a demise of international science diplomacy this time. Every country was left on its own to handle a health challenge of greater magnitude. And this is what should not happen in 6 years. The next pandemic is in 6 years, and we need to prepare for it. We have lots of programs to prepare for it. COMSTech has launched a large program on vaccine and virology development, and that is a program, a flagship program. We have now a consortium of excellence, a number of other programs also. I don't want to go in deep of it because I think this is important that everybody get the opportunity. I'm cutting 50% of my time with the best intention that we all should be able to speak important things and then let more time for the key speakers to speak about that. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Excellency, for your presence here. And thank you, our partner organization, for being part of a great grand celebration under the auspices of UNESCO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Iqbal. Professor Dr. Islamabad is a distinguished national professor at the National Center for Physics, Islamabad, and Secretary General of Pakistan Academy of Sciences. I would request Professor Islamabad to please say his remarks.
Thank you for the introduction. His Excellency Fawad Hussain Chaudhry, the Minister of Science and Technology, Patricia McPhilip, Director UNESCO, Dr. Tar Rahman, he is not here, but he will be joining us, the most celebrated scientist of Pakistan, Dr. Iqbal Chaudhry, the Coordinator General of COMSTEX, Kasim Malik, he couldn't make it, Dr. Manzoor Samro, President ECO, distinguished dignitaries, guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Pakistan Academy of Sciences, I welcome you all to this very special event, the World Science Day for Peace and Development, which was celebrated each year on this date of 10th of November. It is an international day that highlights the importance of science in society, involves public to discuss the emerging scientific issues, aims to raise awareness of the importance of science in promoting sustainable development. In 2019, the World Science Day for Peace and Development was devoted to open science in leaving no one behind. This year, the World Science Day is Science for and with Society. Let me remind you that the idea of celebrating World Science Day was first floated by Dr. Ishaq Ahmed, the ex-chairman Pakistan Atomic Commission. And after a number of deliberations, the UNESCO decided the date on the 10th of November. And since then, we are celebrating this day in collaboration with the Pakistan Science Foundation and UNESCO. In India, the National Day is celebrated on 28th of February. And this day is, in fact, to commemorate the discovery of Ramanittak by C.V. Raman, the Indian scientist. And he got the Nobel Prize in 1930. In Pakistan, unfortunately, there is no National Science Day, although we have one very strong candidate. The date is on 29th of January, Professor Salam. I think we must celebrate that day, and it is his contribution on the electroweak unification theory, and he got the Nobel Prize in the back 1979. Ladies and gentlemen, science for and with society means to engage public in debates on emerging scientific issues and highlighting the importance and relevance of science in our daily lives. This year, the world is struggling with the global COVID-19 pandemic, but there is a dire need for promoting international scientific cooperation to find a vaccine. And I heard yesterday that the German firm Pfizer, I think they have managed to get this vaccine. It is being tested. The Commonwealth Academies, including Pakistan Academy of Sciences, have recently published a statement on climate change, biodiversity, and sustainable energy, which was published on World Environmental Day on 5th of June 2020. Pakistan is facing problems such as climate change, biodiversity, water scarcity, and energy crisis. We, the Pakistanis, are blessed with an excellent water distribution system. Its rivers and canal system is a major source for providing water to the farmers living in far-flung areas. The water level is constantly going down during the last couple of decades. We have to find immediate solutions for the resources of fresh water rather than keep on consuming the groundwater. Recently, the Pakistan Academy of Sciences published a report on water security issues of agriculture in Pakistan, which is compiled by Dr. Riaz Qureshi and Dr. Ashraf. Muhammad Ashraf, he is the DG of the PCWR. We have to, this report highlights the major issues and some remedies. We have to build new dams, and the Kalabagh Dam would be the first choice as it can be built within the shortest time scale. Engineer Shamsul Mulk, the ex-Wabda chairman, is the strongest supporter of this immediate construction. Since Pakistan is an agriculture economy-based country, we must exploit science and technology to enhance the agriculture yield by developing hybrid seeds, encouraging tunnel farming and drip irrigation. Let me share with you that the 2019 Physics Nobel Prize was on the understanding of evolution of the universe and Earth's place in the cosmos, whereas 2020 is about the black hole, which is the prediction of general theory of relativity, whereas in chemistry, the Nobel Prize was for the development of lithium-ion batteries. In Pakistan, there are about 10 groups who are working on the lithium-ion batteries. I think if the government is really willing to go forward in this direction, they have to put some money into it. This year, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry is for the development of a method for genome editing. So Pakistan is far behind. So Pakistan must invest more in science and technology to get a slot at the international level. Such celebrations are the major source of inspiration for the youngster. PS is willing to host such activities, and thanks to HEC and the Planning Commission who have provided 800 million to Pakistan Science Foundation, we are grateful to the Planning Commission, the government. Science is our best hope for the bright and rightful future. Thank you very much for your attention. Allah bless you.
Dr. Aslam. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel privileged to invite our chief guest of today's event, His Excellency Mr. Joji Fawad Hussain, Federal Minister for Science and Technology, for his welcome remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Her Excellency Ms. Christia Mac Phillips, Mr. Iqbal Chaudhry, Dr. Qasim Jan Sahab is not here, I believe. Mirza Habib, Manzoor Somro Sahab, Junaid Zaidi Sahab, and Dr. Sahab will join us later, and also the distinguished ambassadors and other representatives of the embassy. Assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry, Dr. Patricia, that I have to speak before you because I have to leave for a cabinet meeting, and our cabinet meetings are very long. I'm very happy to be here. It's obviously International Science Day, and since it's also going on media, so I will just mix between Urdu and English, so we can also talk to the local audience as well. So obviously, Science Day has its own importance, and science has changed the world in so many ways, I must say. मैं थोड़ा जब हम बात करते हैं कि कैसे चेंज हुई, तो जाहिर है कि हम अपने इर्द गिर्द ही देखें. If we just look around, even in this hall, you see that how science has actually changed our interactions. We have this microphone we are talking, we have lights, we have these the technology that has actually enabled us to interact with each other. ये भी एक साइंस का कमाल है कि हमारी जिंदगियों को किस तरह से उसने तब्दील किया है. मेरे मामू हैं, फेडरल मिनिस्टर थे पहले, वो पिछले गवर्नमेंट में, और he is now about 77 years old. So he tells me the story कि जब शुरू में हम लोग जेलम से हैं, तो जेलम में हम लोग जो हैं वो बेसिकली क्या है कि हमारी सारी जो फैमिलीज हैं वो ज़्यादा किसी ना किसी हवाले से फौज से वाबस्ता रही. तो मेरे जो परदादा थे, ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर, जिस तरह से हमारे गुजर खान में, जेलम में, सुहावा में, सो द मोस्ट ऑफ दिस पोटोहार बेल्ट हम लोग जो थे वो फौज में थे। सो जो मेरे परदादा थे वो भी फौज में थे। तो हम लोगों को जो जमीन मिली थी वो उस वक्त डिस्ट्रिक्ट मोंटगोमरी था, अब डिस्ट्रिक्ट पाकपतन है, वहां पे हमारी जमीन है। तो और जाहिर है ताल्लुक जो है वो मेरा जेलम से है। तो वो फैसिनेटिंग स्टोरी सुनाते हैं कि कैसे वो ट्रैवल करते थे उस वक्त पाकपतन से जेलम, कि पहले हमें खत लिखना पड़ता था लाहौर में कि हम आ रहे हैं, फिर सुबह जो है उनके लिए एक घोड़ा जो है वो आता था, उस घोड़े के ऊपर बैठ के वो तकरीबन 3 घंटे में रेलवे स्टेशन पहुंचते थे। रेलवे स्टेशन के बाद पैसेंजर गाड़ी के लिए इंतजार करना पड़ता था, फिर अगले दिन पैसेंजर गाड़ी आती थी और फिर वो लाहौर पहुंचते थे। सो ये मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। और अब आज लाहौर और जो हमारी जमीनें हैं जहाँ पे हमारी आरफ वाला तहसील है, उसके दरमियान जो फासला है, that was about, they used to take about 3 days to travel between Lahore and Montgomery district, which is now Sahiwal and now it's Pakpatan. Now that journey is now reduced to about 1.5 hours. So you can imagine the kind of, this is a fascinating story of science. This is a fascinating story of the development of technology. और खुद हमारे अपनी जिंदगियों में जितनी तब्दीली आई है साइंस की, टेक्नोलॉजी की, इट्स एक्चुअली हार्ड टू बिलीव। बहुत सारे लोगों को यहाँ पर ही पता ही होगा कि फोन लगवाना कितना मुश्किल काम था। आपको MNAs, MPAs के पास जाके 85 की असेंबली में या इवन 88 की असेंबली में जो सबसे बड़ी सिफारिश किसी MNA की या MPA की होती थी वो ये थी कि फोन लगवा दें PTCL को कहते। एंड नाउ वी हैव फोन्स, कंपनीज जो हैं वो खुद पीछे पड़ी रहती हैं कि खुदा के लिए हमारा फोन ले लें। तो and just go about a few, maybe not I would say few centuries back, because maybe 1 or 2 centuries back, the biggest challenge for the humanity was that how can we save ourselves from pandemic and famine. And most of the world population, the biggest challenge for the population and humanity was that how can we avoid famine? How can we avoid pandemic? And within centuries, we have now actually literally come over with this fear of dying because of hunger. Now, actually, people die because of overeating and not of hunger. So this is the kind of change that science and technology has brought in the world, and it's continuously changing. Not that we have not our own problems, we have our problems, and I would like to draw the kind attention of Director UNESCO that, and also we have the other organizations, COMSATS, comstech, that we must not allow the rich countries and rich, I would say, communities to monopolize science. Now, what is happening vis-a-vis ये जो हमारी vaccine है, it's a great day actually to address this prestigious gathering, because today, actually yesterday, the vaccine for COVID has been announced, and Pfizer and this biotech has announced that they have invented this vaccine to safeguard the humanity from COVID. And this is obviously one great invention, and I must congratulate all the scientists and technicians working with these companies especially. But at the same time, I would appeal to Pfizer and biotech and all the rich countries that let's not monopolize the vaccine. Now we hear that top 5 rich countries have already ordered 0.5 billion items of this vaccine. So if only rich countries will monopolize this vaccine and poor countries won't be able to get that vaccine, that will actually be a classic case of monopoly over science. And I think this is an area where UNESCO and United Nations and other organizations, and especially WHO, can play a big role, that how to avoid and how to, the kind of discourage this monopoly over science and technology. And this is one area that we, the world, need to look at. Rest, I hope that the kind of adventures that scientists are taking, the scientists have taken in the field of science and technology will obviously bring more prosperity and happiness to the world, to the world population. And this is what we are looking for. This is what we expect from the science. This is what we expect from the technology. And also, obviously, the whole world is looking at the advent of 5G. कि जब 5G internet आ जाएगा, तो how that will change the whole world. It will be actually as big a revolution as internet itself. And theme of today's Science Day was actually the COVID-19. So I'm very happy to report, especially to the Excellency, the ambassadors here and the other diplomats, on 26th February, when the first COVID case, and also Dr. Patricia for you, when the first COVID case in Pakistan were reported on 26th February, at that day, we were actually net importer of all COVID-related material. We were importing these masks from China. We were importing the shields, the goggles, the doctors' prevention kits, shoes, everything. We were a net importer of all these equipments and stuff. Just after 4 to 5 months of 26th February, we became one of the largest exporter of these stuff. And this was the kind of, I would say, the enigma that the attack with the Pakistani scientists, engineers, and the kind of performance they have showed to conquer this pandemic in Pakistan. That not only that we created an environment where we have been able to produce all COVID-related material that suffice our needs, but also we have been able to export and help the world actually. Now we are also giving charity. In charity, we're giving this COVID material to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to Nigeria, and to other countries. Not to Nigeria, sorry, but to Iraq, Afghanistan, and a few other African countries. So we are giving away these COVID-related material. That itself is a huge, I would say, leap forward as far as Pakistan's own contribution in this COVID pandemic is concerned. So today is World Science Day, and I want to also suggest to, especially जो हमारे पाकिस्तान के लड़के लड़कियां हैं जो सब स्कूल्स में हैं, कॉलेजेस में हैं, कि साइंस जो है आप बिजनेस तो पढ़ते हैं, लैंग्वेजेस पढ़ते हैं, हम लोग और जो बाकी जो मज़ामीन हैं पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन आप यकीन कीजिए कि जो फ्यूचर है वो साइंस के साथ वाबस्ता है, वो टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ वाबस्ता है. सो मैं आप लोगों से कहूँगा कि अगर हमें पाकिस्तान को एक मुस्तकबिल की ताकत बनाना है, तो फिर हमारे जो बच्चे हैं उनको साइंस की तरफ आना होगा, टेक्नोलॉजी की तरफ आना होगा. और अब ये बात नहीं रह गई कि हमारे पास वसाइल की कोई प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि आप इंटरनेट के बाद अगर आप इंटरनेट के ऊपर जाते हैं तो जो चीज़ें अवेलेबल हैं हमें, जो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड में अवेलेबल हैं, वही अब हर जगह के ऊपर अवेलेबल है. जस्ट कि आपके पास इंटरनेट की अवेलेबिलिटी हो तो आप सब कुछ जो है वो आपकी दस्तरस में है, आपके पास है. तो मैं ये कहूँगा स्पेशली जो हमारी लड़कियाँ स्पेशली पाकिस्तान में, क्योंकि साइंस का और टेक्नोलॉजी का इसलिए भी मैं ज़्यादा समझता हूँ कि लड़कियों के लिए तो और भी अच्छा है, क्योंकि इसमें आपको जो इन्वायरमेंट है काम करने का वो बहुत बेहतर है. बाकी जो हमारे जो शोबे हैं जैसे वकालत है या डॉक्टरी है या जो और बाकी शोबे हैं, उनसे कहीं ज़्यादा बेहतर माहौल जो है वो साइंस में और टेक्नोलॉजी में आपको मिलता है. सो आई वुड इनकरेज कि आप लोग ज़रूर जो है वो इस तरफ आएँ, एंड दिस इज़ हाउ वी कैन चेंज पाकिस्तान. क्योंकि पाकिस्तान को अगर हमने आगे लेके जाना है तो जिस तरह से बाकी तमाम ममालिक में आगे गए हैं, हम उसी तरह से ही आगे जा सकते हैं. और वो ये है कि वही मुल्क आगे जाएंगे जिनका मुस्तकबिल, जो अपना फ्यूचर इल्म के साथ, मंतक के साथ, दलील के साथ और साइंस के साथ वाबस्ता करेंगे. बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत मेहरबानी.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have amongst us two young students who would like to share their thoughts and views on the theme of the event. First, I would like to invite Ms. Kasar Bathar, who is grade 9 student at City School Nawabshah campus in pursuing her passion to work towards reducing child mortality rate in her district, Tharparkar. Ms. Bathar developed an AI model to help pregnant women monitor their own health. Her project, developed under Technovation Idea Lab program of UNESCO in Technovation, has been selected as the best project from Pakistan. Ms. Kasar, would you please take the podium?
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. My name is Kasat Batra and I am 13 years old, currently studying in grade 9 in the City School, Nawabshah, Sindh, Pakistan. First of all, I would like to thank UNESCO and its partners for providing me this wonderful opportunity to express my thoughts, my ideas and my expression with you all on this event, World Science Day 2020. I always try to solve problems of my classmates, including science subjects, and wherever they face any challenge, and also discuss computer-based innovations. Apart this, during my vacation, I often visit my native village, Chailan, situated in district Tharparkar. There I observe number of problems, including their health, their education, poverty level, lack of social awareness, and this strikes me to find its possible solutions and its root causes. This COVID-19 pandemic provided me the best opportunity to utilize my time effectively and complete my desired goals successfully. UNESCO, in partnership with Technovation Idea Lab, provided me the best opportunity to utilize my time effectively and complete my desired goals successfully. More than 3,000 girls from 6 different countries participated in this 5-week-long training program. And from Pakistan, more than 450 girls participated. And I was one of the participants in Technovation Idea Lab. And all thanks to Technovation Idea Lab, who helped me to polish my ideas, streamline my ideas, and complete my desired goals successfully. Basically, my research idea was to reduce mortality rate of newly born child in district Tharparkar, Sindh, Pakistan. The aim of our project is to reduce death ratio of newly born child with using emerging technology like artificial intelligence. To achieve the objective of my study, I first designed AI model that will automatically detect anemic or unhealthy pregnant women in district Tharparkar. Then I created a questionnaire to collect the data and then entered that data in machine learning platform ML4K model and trained my model to get the particular desired result. My idea was recognized by UNESCO and Technovation Idea Lab as the best one from Pakistan. To achieve this solution is innovative because technology like artificial intelligence have been utilized. These technologies will help us to resolve the problem permanently. An expert mentioned that it would benefit our community in making quick decisions and the proper management. Stakeholders can access this data from the online platform. And science, coming towards science. Science is a field which facilitates all other fields. It helps us to find solutions to the problems that we face in our daily life and the problems that we face in our world, like this COVID-19 pandemic. So my message to you all, especially girls of my age, is to choose STEM education and study in its true sense so that you can benefit yourself, your community, and the whole nation. In future, I want to deploy a smart device to the pregnant women of Tharparkar district in order to get the feedback of their health, the child's health, and improve this education by this device. And in long term contribute to UN Sustainable Development Goal. As ambitious youth, I want to expand this project to all rural areas of Pakistan if resources available. My message to the parents is, as due to COVID-19 pandemic, the education sector has been highly affected, especially girls of my age. So I would request the parents to send their child, especially girls, to get education in the schools. by performing all the safety precautions like to sanitize yourself, wear mask, keep social distance, so that they could benefit the whole nation. Because in this modern era, we need young doctors, young scientists, engineers, astronauts, and to name few, to save the whole planet and benefit the humankind. In this modern era, the education is the power to change the whole world. And once again, I am very humbly thankful to my all mentors, UNESCO, and my parents who helped me in achieving this. In the end, I would like to call Dr. Edward Taylor. The science of today, I repeat, the science of today is the technology of tomorrow. Thank you very much for your precious time.
Thank you, Kasat. And I would like to invite Mr. On Azhar from Sargodha. He is the winner of bronze medal at International Junior Science Olympiad that was held in Doha, Qatar in December 2019. Mr. On.
In the name of Allah, who is the most kind and merciful, worthy chief guests, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Assalamu alaikum. I'm very thankful to Pakistan Science Foundation for giving me such an opportunity to share my experience with such a gathering. I would like to tell you my story from the very beginning when I was a student of 9th class. I got first position in Board of Intermediate and Secondary Education Sargodha. The Pakistan Science Foundation called all the toppers of intermediate and secondary education to select the participants of the International Junior Science Olympiad. It was quite tough competition because all the students were geared up and ready. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah Almighty, I got selected for the 16th International Junior Science Olympiad 2019, which was held in Doha at Qatar. It was quite tough for me, and being a part of religion and being a part of underprivileged area. The selection was totally based upon merit, and the students from developing areas like Balochistan, Bannu, KPK were also selected. We were quite excited about the competition, like how to perform, and it's an international forum. For the first time we were going. We worked hard day and night under the mentorship of Principal Scientific Officer Ma'am Rehana Batul. Our team competed with more than 500 students of 78 different countries. And Alhamdulillah, we won bronze medal for our dearest homeland, Pakistan. The moment of achievement, I can't express it in my words. And furthermore, like it was an honor for my parents, and I made my country proud on me and my team as a whole. Furthermore, I would like to say that it was more than a competition. It provides an international forum for the students, for the world students to exchange their views on sports, culture, religious harmony and science. It just not only improve analytical approach to the STEM subjects like engineering, physics, biology, and the more. And further, I would like to say that the Pakistan Science Foundation provides such an exciting platform for the capacity building of under 16 science students. It is one of the most effective organizations working for the popularization of the science from the grassroots level. I'm very thankful to all of them, and also to the federal minister, and also to the ministry which is supporting youth through the different programs of Pakistan Science Foundation. And in the end, I would like to say a few words in my national language, Urdu, so that I can express my feelings better. इंसान की जिंदगी में बाज़ लम्हात ऐसे आते हैं कि वो इंसान अपनी जिंदगी से भुला नहीं पाता और वो इंसान की जिंदगी का हिस्सा बन जाता है। मुझे अभी भी वो लम्हा याद है कि जब मेरे मुल्क अजीज मुल्क पाकिस्तान का नाम पुकारा गया और हम लोग स्टेज पे अपने शानों पे अपने मुल्क का परचम दिए गए और हमें कांसी का तमगा वहाँ पे मिला, तो वो लम्हा मेरी जिंदगी का एक इंतहाई खूबसूरत और दिलकश लम्हा था। और मजीद ये कि हमें साइंस की फील्ड में तमाम तलबा को जो है वो वर्क करना चाहिए। वी हैव टू ग्रैस्प कॉन्सेप्ट more than cramming, because कुछ सिस्टम्स के ऐसे इश्यूज हैं या कुछ एजुकेशनल हवाले से कि कॉन्सेप्ट्स बिल्डअप नहीं होते। अगर कॉन्सेप्ट्स बिल्डअप होंगे तो फर्दर जो है आप एक्सपेरिमेंटल बेसिस पे चीज़ों को ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं, प्रैक्टिकली आप उनको कर सकते हैं। और मुझे आज तक वो याद है कि हम लोगों ने किस तरह मेहनत की और बहुत ज़्यादा हमारे साथ सपोर्ट थी फाउंडेशन की भी, मुख्तलिफ इंटेलेक्चुअल्स थे हमें गाइड करने वाले, और अल्लाह के फजल करम से हमने वहाँ पे अपने मुल्क का जो है वो नाम रोशन किया और इंशाल्लाह आइंदा भी करते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, Mr. On. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of Professor Dr. Ataur Rahman joining us virtually from Karachi to name a few positions of his illustrious career. He is Chairman of Prime Minister's Task Force on Science and Technology, Vice Chairman of Prime Minister's Task Force on Technology-Driven Knowledge Economy, Co-Chair of Task Force on Information Technology, President of Network of Academies of Sciences of Islamic countries, Foreign Fellow of Coding Academy of Sciences, and Foreign Fellow of Chinese Chemical Society. Professor Ataur Rahman has also won the International Scientific Cooperation Award by the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Professor Ataur Rahman, are you with us? Ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting for Dr. Ataur Rahman to connect, I would like to invite Mr. Mirza Habib Ali, who is the Director of Research Support and Member Finance at Pakistan Science Foundation, for his remarks. Dr. Mirza Habib Ali.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Our Excellencies, distinguished eminent scientists, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Assalamu alaikum. Very shortly, I'll represent Pakistan Science Foundation, and those who are not familiar with Pakistan Science Foundation, in few sentences I would like to introduce. It is the apex body for promotion of science in the country, and Pakistan Science Foundation has been blessed that almost all eminent scientists of Pakistan, they have served Pakistan Science Foundation as a board member. For example, Dr. Abdus Salam, the only science Nobel laureate from Pakistan, he was the member of the board of Pakistan Science Foundation. Dr. Ataur Rahman, and we are honored that while he was Minister for Science and Technology, he would serve Pakistan Science Foundation. And interestingly, all the eminent scientists on the table, Dr. Iqbal Chaudhry, Dr. Zaidi Saab, Sumar Saab, Aslam Beg, they all have served Pakistan Science Foundation as board member. Pakistan Science Foundation has promoted science since 1973, and almost all the scientists in Pakistan, they have availed funding from Pakistan Science Foundation. I would like to share just only 2 or 3 points currently. First of all, I'm very grateful to all the partners, and Pakistan Science Foundation being the apex body and the focal point for science in Pakistan has played a very important role in establishing linkages and consortium in Pakistan. And Dr. Aslam Beg has just mentioned that Pakistan Science Foundation has the honor to propose World Science Day to the global community. Dr. Ashfaq, he had very close association sir, with Pakistan Science Foundation. He served the board member as when he was member technical Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. He served board as when he was chairman Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, while even when he was the advisor to the chief executive of Pakistan. And we are very, I feel very pleased to share that my team, especially Mr. Hana, the head of science popularization section, and all other, they have continued their effort, and all the chairmen, they have ensured that Pakistan Science Foundation is celebrating this event, World Science Day, with all partners since 2001. Her Excellency, we have closely worked with the UNESCO. We have worked with Dr. Nagata and Vivek Jensen, and we look forward to work with you as well. Here, I would like to introduce just 2 or 3 programs to the fellow scientists, because this is a big opportunity. And before that, one more thing I would feel pleasure to share, that in the COVID scenario, 5 call for proposals were launched from Pakistan, including Higher Education Commission, Ignite of the Ministry of IT, Department of Science and Technology, KPK government, and few others. But I'm very happy to share that Pakistan Science Foundation was the first organization to conclude the call. We have funded 6 or 7 projects, 2 projects on ventilators, 1 to the NUST and 1 to Rifa University. We have funded 2 projects on AI-based. One is the AI-based surveillance, and one is AI-based diagnostics. And we have also funded 1 project on the scientific studies of the COVID. All of these projects have been funded. They are at various stages of execution and in various universities. And one more program I would like to share with my fellow scientists, that Pakistan Science Foundation now has a very huge funding in the form of a PSDP. And Pakistan Science Foundation, about 1 year back, was the first organization in Pakistan who has launched the concept of consortium research. Because we had over the time learned that some of the national issues, they can only be resolved and addressed through various institutions and group of scientists. So 1 year back, we launched a project, we call it Competitive Research Program. The scientific community of Pakistan, they have a great opportunity to benefit, to get funding for research projects from Pakistan. Just very quickly, this project, mega project, has 4 streams. One is the bilateral international projects, and I would like to get the attention of the Dr. Iqbal Chaudhry sir. With 4 countries, we have very successfully funded the projects with the China, with Turkey, with Iran, with Sri Lanka. This time, my colleague Ahsan Feroz, Director International Linkages, have launched a special call with Turkey to BTEC, and that call is focused on industrial projects only. And the model is that the Turkey to BTEC, they have an industrial partner from Turkey, and we have an industrial partner from Pakistan, and the call would be concluded on 17th of this month. So the other stream for my fellow scientists is consortium research. We have a huge funding, and I mean, the one project can be up to 20 million. So different scientists, I would motivate them, I would encourage them that they should develop consortium, and they come up with the issues which are applied and which are of the national importance. We have also funding for individual scientists, that is up to 8 million. And the last stream is, we call it triple helix with industry. So there is huge funding, and my message on behalf of Science Foundation was to thank all the partners, especially on my senior scientists, eminent scientists. And in the end, I would like that Pakistan Science Foundation is further launching few programs, and especially the funding of the projects. And in the end, I really thank my team at Pakistan Science Foundation, Dr. Rehana, and her colleagues, they have contributed a lot in spite of the hardships due to COVID. We continued our work, and people, they made sure that this call is concluded. And I ensure on behalf of Pakistan Science Foundation that the dynamic team of Pakistan Science Foundation would continue its support to all the stakeholders. And I look forward to the Coordinator General of COMSTech for multilateral projects as well from the platform of Pakistan Science Foundation. We have Dr. Anam Bhatt and Dr. Manzoor Sumru. I already said that almost all eminent scientists, they are on board of Pakistan Science Foundation. And Dr. Bhatt Sahab, they served a long time as board member, then he served as chairman. Dr. Sumru, he is the founding president of ECOSF Science Foundation, and it originated from Pakistan Science Foundation. I also take the credit that ECOSF Science Foundation is also a plant of Pakistan Science Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Now I would like to request Professor Dr. Manzoor Hussain Somro to please take the podium.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. The theme of World Science Day this year, as you heard, is science for and with society. Therefore, whatever science we do, we not only need to communicate to the society at large, but we need to do it together with the society by involving and engaging them by pursuing the open science concept, which UNESCO is promoting, and there is a recommendation available also. But this means that we must have a strong science communication system and capacities, and so it happens that most of us are not really good communicators, and there are no training programs for that either. With regard to science communication and to be a science communicator, we are passing through quite a challenging time. The current pandemic, the climate change crisis, and concerns over new technologies from artificial intelligence to genetic modification by CRISPR, they demand public accountability, clear discussion, and the ability to disagree in public. However, the challenge to science communication is not new. The 20th century saw a long argument for science communication in the interest of public good. And since the Second World War, there have been many efforts to negotiate a social contract between the science and civil society. In the West, part of that negotiation has emphasized the distribution of scientific knowledge, but how is the relationship between science and society formulated around the globe and in our beloved country needs to be understood well. Dear friends, science communication plays a significant role as it connects general public with scientific arenas and helps them understand how science influences human life. And the Honorable Minister did touch upon some of the things, how it influences the lives of the people. In order to make well-informed decisions about our health, our environment, national development, and even politics, we all need accurate and unbiased information. And when it comes to science, scientists are the most direct and knowledgeable source of information. Scientists also have the knowledge and credibility to counter misinformation and misconceptions, such as the fake news, which clutter the public debate. Therefore, it is critical for scientists to inform the public about new discoveries, important issues, complex problems, and their scientific solutions. Pakistan faces numerous development challenges, ranging from a sluggish economy, poor literacy rate, water and food scarcity, to an energy crisis and environmental issues. And we, the scientists, engineers, and technologists, as well as policymakers, together with community, have to address these challenges. The communication, my fellow scientists and students of science, is at the heart of many of the biggest challenges facing scientists today. Being able to articulate your work to a broader audience can have a tremendous impact on the discoverability of your research and the trajectory of your career, as well as in solving the problems in the society. Therefore, we must prioritize an adequate investment in science, technology, innovation to produce well-qualified and capable human capital to address these challenges. We need to establish the necessary framework to communicate science to the public more effectively, to cultivate a science-literate society. I believe we need to establish parameters and an index of science literacy for annual assessment and reporting, as our best friend and neighbor, China, through ECO Science Foundation's partners, the China Association for Science and Technology, has been doing it for quite some time. And we can learn from our friends. Using targeted communication, scientists can also influence government decisions related to regulation, STI policies, funding, which can in turn have an important impact on scientific progress. It is not a stretch or exaggeration to say that the entire fate of humanity could rest on scientists successfully communicating and collaborating to help solve the problems that are faced by the humankind today. Gentlemen and ladies, dear students, science and technology are linked with all aspects of society. Science has greatly advanced our understanding of natural world and has brought countless creations of practical application and many meaningful advantages to the human species. The primary role of human society should be to promote and develop rational, logical ability and critical thinking among its citizens, so as to better understand the dynamics of the nature, conserve it, and benefit from technological developments on a sustainable basis. With regards to society's better understanding of scientific phenomena such as climate change, science communication plays an important role to raise awareness. Science journalism conveys scientific knowledge, concepts, and processes to public and policymakers, which is important for taking governing decisions, and it bridges the gap between the scientific world and the general public and exposes them to real world problems. However, while writing a book chapter by ECO Science Foundation team on science communication in Pakistan, which has been published by the Australian National University 2 months ago, we noted that the country lags far behind in science communication among the Committee of Forward-Looking Nations, and the curriculum of journalism degrees does not have any content of science journalism per se. HEC needs to review and revise the curriculum. I have already written to the chairman HEC in this regard. It is rather unfortunate to see that Pakistan has not yet established the essential framework to communicate science to its public effectively. The avenues for sharing of scientific thoughts and research outcomes among scientists, the general public, and policymakers for decision making are simply not enough. Off and on, some research institutions and organizations do issue press releases and media outlets cover them, but as such, no framework exists. The fact is that interest in science is fizzling out among kids, and the gap between science and society continues to widen in the country. Thus, due importance must be given to the field of science communication in Pakistan. And perhaps UNESCO, being a UN body meant for this, can also come forward and patronize some of the activities. Overall, the Pakistani media, including electronic and print, are vibrant sources of information, but science reporting does not rank high among the priority areas of media outlets and newsroom hierarchies across the country. I appreciate the Technology Times that continues to publish and report. However, with the emergence of online and digital platforms, many startups and non-government entities have spurred to leverage technology to promote scientific culture in Pakistan. And therefore, in order to make a significant contribution to the public awareness of science and technology in Pakistan, the government must prioritize STI together with high-end research, must focus on the promotion of public awareness of science and technology. The scientists, the policymakers, and academies have to think creatively about new directions for rebuilding science-society interfaces and for participating in the ongoing debate surrounding emerging technologies. I believe just like public relations sections in different organizations, I think science communication units should be initiated by each SMT research institution and university, and a national body mandated with science promotion, like my organization, Pakistan Science Foundation, should perhaps reinvigorate its science population program with the communication of science in focus. Since the minister is not here now, may I propose all colleagues that we resolve on this and share it with the minister, that we should also have a science week. And therefore, I would like to share on this occasion that some years ago in the previous government, on this very day, I had proposed to the government of Pakistan to celebrate an annual science week linked with this World Science Day, when all SNT institutions and universities can open their doors for the public, more like an open week. The then Minister for Science and Technology had even announced it in his speech, but alas, it could not be taken up to get it approved from the cabinet. Thus, I repeat my proposal on this occasion again. Finally, dear colleagues, dear participants, let's pledge that all work in our individual capacities. We pledge that we all work in our individual capacities, but more importantly, work together in partnership to build a collaborative infrastructure between science and society to tackle issues like climate change, food security, hygiene, and public health, especially in the current pandemic, on scientific basis, as the second wave sets in faster in Pakistan and around the world. All these issues sort of blur the boundaries between science, society, and politics, and that is what we were earlier on talking about, the SDG 70, to have a partnership. And I appreciate the partnership today that number of organizations have come together to celebrate the World Science Day for Peace and Development 2020. I thank you all, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Sen. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Ms. Fozia Nasreen, is a former diplomat who has served in various capacities in a number of missions, including as ambassador to Nepal, Poland, and High Commissioner to Australia. I request Ms. Fozia to please take the podium.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me begin by appreciating UNESCO's initiative to observe the World Science Day for Peace and Development every year since 2001. It highlights the role science can play in promoting sustainability of the individual and at the planetary levels. It also reflects the inextricable linkage between development, peace, and security. I commend UNESCO for their farsightedness. This year's World Science Day is being observed in the backdrop of exceptional circumstances created by the pandemic COVID-19. Since December 2019, the world has been in the grip of this infectious disease, leading to several deaths and colossal socioeconomic hardships for the humanity and the world at large. The COVID-19 has affected all without any discrimination, rich and poor, developed and developing countries, and all regions. Mistakenly, it is labeled as the great equalizer. It has, however, grossly accentuated inequalities and and has tested the limits of the state, society, and individual, basically the capacities to mitigate the crisis. I think that has been tested to the limit of all countries. What is described as the new normal is here to stay with us for at least the next couple of years, posing challenges in the realm of health and medicine and science-led solutions. Collective endeavor is the need of the hour. It is not time for competition, rivalry, and discord, and I think this has been basically alluded to by the earlier speakers as well. The nature of the epidemic is such that it demands a comprehensive response and adjustment at the societal and individual levels. Awareness that leads to behavioral social change is necessary, which has its own downsides. Psychological impact is reportedly leading to mental health problems, domestic violence, and deprivation. This year's theme, Science for and with Society, very aptly captures the tumultuous phase of the current human history, defined as Robert Kaplan puts it in his book, The Coming Anarchy, the national security issue of the 21st century being the environment. Surging populations, spreading disease, deforestation, and soil erosion, water depletion, air pollution have emerged as the political and strategic challenges requiring, as another scholar has pointed out, we need to bring nature back in. We have to stop separating politics from physical world. The climate, public health, and the environment, as he says, are important issues. This hope and aspiration is reflected in the Sustainable Development Goals, which accord priority to tackling the threats and challenges and dangers identified by the world community at the dawn of the 21st century, or let's say the new millennium. The goals and targets are so conceived as to provide scope for cross-cutting actions. Poverty, hunger, health, and well-being have been given primacy, and other goals and targets are aligned to advance strategies and actions for eradication of poverty, hunger, and disease. At the core are measures to combat and mitigate climate change impacts and promote sustainable cities, development and environment, water, food security, and sustainable agriculture, protecting terrestrial environment and oceans and seas. The tools to achieve the targets are built on science, technology, and innovation, education for all, gender equality, and I would like to emphasize over here that women scientists should be a part of the decision-making process. And I think I would like to mention that TWAS has taken this initiative to organize special workshops and programs for women scientists. The SDGs are embedded in the spirit of global solidarity, where triangular cooperation is to act as a catalyst. International cooperation and networking for science and development hence are critical. The Commission on Science and Technology for Sustainable Development in the South was conceived on this vital pillar. COMSATS' mission, laid down in 1994 when it was established, is to strive for the creation of a world where all nations are at peace with one another and to foster capability for providing sustainable quality of life to the people through scientific and technological resources. Popularizing science at the government and societal level is hence at the heart of the organization's vision, activities, and programs. The structural layout of the organization reflects how pivotally important it is to strengthen international scientific cooperation and networking. The Commission comprises, as I'm sure all of you would know, 27 member countries, and there is a network of 24 centers of excellence. And it's basically a multidisciplinary cooperation which covers different areas. The highlights of some of the initiatives taken in the sphere of international scientific cooperation are outlined as follows. First is the institution building in the South, which of course is reflected in the establishment of COMSATS University in Islamabad and also comstech-oic Center in Syria. Promoting joint research and for common solutions to the problems of member countries, that is another area. Capacity building, of course, in the member countries is a very important important aspect of the activities undertaken by COMSATS. Facilitating academic and scientific excellence in the South, that is another area where I think COMSATS has been working for the last almost 25, 26 years. COMSATS telehealth program, I think, has picked up particularly in the last few months, where a number of workshops have been organized basically to see how different member countries are coping with the COVID-19 situation. And particularly the exchange of ideas have been in the context of telemedicine and telehealth programs. The foregoing overview of COMSATS and endeavors to strengthen international scientific cooperation and networking is a source of satisfaction for the organization. It also underscores its determination and solid commitment towards humanity's collective response to the sustainable development challenges of the 21st century. It is also to build foundation for science-based solutions, possibly homegrown, involving communities at the grassroots level. The theme, Science for and with Society, fits in very well within the ongoing COMSATS collaborations for strengthening international cooperation and networking. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fozia. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to invite our guest of honor today, Ms. Patricia McCullough, who is the representative and director of United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in Pakistan. Ms. McCullough, would you please take the podium?
Okay, thank you very much. I really want to thank Dr. Chowdhury of COMSTEX and the staff for hosting this event today. And I also want to highlight that this actually is a partnership. This meeting today is a partnership and celebration of World Science Day for Peace and Development, and several scientific agencies have pulled together to have one partnership event. So thank you very much for that. To the respected scientific community, colleagues, ambassadors, good morning and alaikum assalam. Today we are here celebrating World Science Day for Peace and Development with a focus on science for and with society. Everyone has a right to participate in and benefit from science. The overall purpose of World Science Day is to spark a global discussion on ways to improve access to science, and to the benefits of science for sustainable development. Representing UNESCO, I am here today in support of the open science concept. The COVID-19 pandemic has reminded us of the extent to which our well-being and the well-being of our planet are interdependent and interconnected. There are several lessons that we have learned from this pandemic. One critical point being that the global sharing of scientific information and data are essential to humanity's collective response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Throughout the pandemic crisis, UNESCO has endeavored to address the need for international cooperation and communication, and has encouraged the sharing of scientific data and evidence-based information. With this framework, the UNESCO Natural Science section has organized several high-level online meetings establishing a global dialogue on global issues, encouraging the sharing and experiences of best practices. Now, more than ever, we need to embrace an integrated and interdisciplinary approach to development. The World Science Day provides a perfect opportunity to mobilize the science community to bring science closer to society. Scientific data, scientific research, and its results should be made available to all stakeholders, providing the benefit of maximum advantage. It is a basic right for all to benefit from scientific research and innovations. In this regard, the 193 member states of UNESCO have tasked UNESCO with the development of recommendations on open science to be adopted by the member states in 2021. We have shared the first draft of the recommendations on open science with you today and look forward to your observations. I believe some hard copies are available outside in the lobby, and of course the information is available online. The idea behind open science is to allow scientific information, data, and outputs to be A, more widely accessible, which is open access, B, more reliable harnessed, open data, and C, the active engagement of all stakeholders, which is open to all society. Celebrated every 10th of November, World Science Day for Peace and Development highlights the important role of science in society and the need to engage the wider public in debates on emergent scientific issues. It also underlines the importance and relevance of science in our daily lives. In closing, I just want to take a moment really to congratulate Azar and Kasar Bathar. And Kasar, congratulations. You're very young people, and I want to say congratulations for leveraging science to make your communities healthier, safer, and better places to live. You are really an inspiration to me, representing the potential and power of youth in science and innovation, not only for Pakistan, but for all global citizens. Again, I congratulate the scientific community for this event today and thank all of our partners for organizing the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Macaulay. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Abraham Shemari, Professor Emeritus at Al-Azhar University, Islamabad, to deliver a vote of thanks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. Honorable guest of honor, Ms. Patricia, respected Professor Atta Raman is not here, but we appreciate his services to the country. He did a lot for us. Whatever we are today, even, a lot of his contribution is there. Dr. Junaid Zaidi, Manzoor Somro, my dear brother Iqbal Chaudhry, and audience, Ambassador Fawzia Nasreen, the most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's really my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. Thank you, Iqbal Chaudhary and all friends, colleagues. I, on behalf of COMSATS, PSF, comstech, the Pakistan Academy of Sciences, EcoScience Foundation, and UNESCO, and the entire team, crew of these organizations, the entire audience, let me call it fraternity of scientists here together, and on my own behalf extend my hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers today. They highlighted the issues about science specifically for peace and development. But when we say, ladies and gentlemen, science for peace and development, we should remember that there is I teach dual use of education and science in the university. So we must start, when we say science with and for society, a need for responsible research and innovation. To avoid, specifically when we talk in this pandemic, to avoid infodemic and pseudoscience. I call it pseudoscience, and there are a lot of information about this. We work at the UN level with BWC and others. And it's the time, like Manzoor Somro said, communicating science with the society, the real science with the society. And there you have to engage society more broadly in its research and innovation. Because we saw in last almost 1 year now, the rise of disinformation in this current coronavirus diseases is an example, because it undermined the socio-political system, it delegitimized public health in several countries and the scientific bodies. Rightly said by WHO Director General, we are not just fighting an epidemic, we are fighting an infodemic. Every day you hear, specifically in the new days, this herb is good, that plant is good, that chemical is good. Several, pharmaceutical companies invested money in social media to highlight their products initially. They earned money, and then the scientific information was that it's not this one, it's the other one. So here we really need to understand, because the worries are, I work with BWC in UN, and they say the third decade of the 21st century, the threat of use of a biological agent without deployment of biological agent per se. You don't need to deploy a biological weapon. Still, you can get some results if you want. And several of the countries are investing in social media about pseudoscience and others, and that's it. So I thank really all the speakers, those who spoke a lot on these issues, highlighting the issues that we are confronted with. And I appreciate all these organizations, I should say led by Iqbal Chaudhary, because I received several of his emails, and UNESCO, of course. I work for UNESCO as a vice chair of COMSTech, that works for ethics in science and technology. So I'm really grateful that they did a lot. So what we need now is, of course, media has left and they have little interest in communicating science with society, but we somehow have to use the social media forum, and we need to address all these issues are. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and Her Excellency, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels starts rolling weeks ago, and I must appreciate the colleagues in COMSTech and other organizations. They started planning and an bird eyes on every detail. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated people around us. They made this event a success. Sir and lady, thank you very much for organizing this day. All the organizations, I should stay here that we are grateful to the speaker. They rightly, raised the issues. But the lesson learned from this day's celebration is think globally, act locally. Global threats need global collaboration. Being inclusive is not just fairness, it is life and death. Human history and natural history can no longer be separated. Human health and the health of the planet go together. So you have to, like the speaker said, save the biodiversity and other issues. And someday we will talk about the role of biodiversity in, in stopping, or if you cut it, spreading these infectious diseases. Rightly said by Iqbal Chaudhry, we have to prepare ourselves for the next pandemics. We should learn from this. This should be a kind of challenges that we have to confront. So we take this as an opportunity to stop it here and learn for the next one that has to come. We should be prepared. Thank you, all the organization, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Shivani. Now I would like to request Professor Dr. Bhattacharya to kindly distribute souvenirs among the distinguished guests. First, Ms. Kasat Bhattacharya. Mr. Kon Asar. Ambassador Fawzia Nasreen. Dr. Mirza Habib Ali. Dr. Aslam Beg. Dr. Mansoor Somro. Dr. Zahra Khan Shinwari. Ms. Patricia McPhillips. And last but not the least, Professor Dr. Bhattacharya.
Thank you very much. Can I just take half a minute or so? I'm really grateful to all the organizers for organizing this activity, and we are really grateful. But this activity should not go unnoticed. What I would propose while Dr. Ahmed is here and he has been contributing a lot for the development of nanotechnology in Pakistan, can we resolve today that this meeting resolve that very soon we should have an international center on nanotechnology in Pakistan. There are 4 organizations here: COMSATS, Pakistan Science Foundation, and also UNESCO. And can I request the director of UNESCO to take this request along? That if you can, you want to use your name, UNESCO Center on nanotechnology, that would be good. If you are not very keen, I would be very happy to take my name, COMSATS Center of Nanotechnology in Pakistan. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Just on reflecting of what Dr. Zaidi said, an extremely important proposal that we have UNESCO Center in Karachi, and there is a nanotechnology center. So why don't we upgrade that into an international center with the help of UNESCO and other partners? So we do that, and the center already exists with the support of the Sindh government, about 1.1 billion rupees, and I think adding up an international portion of it would create what Dr. Zaidi is proposing. Yes, sir.
All the guests are requested to kindly proceed outside for the group photo and afterwards for refreshments. Thank you and a good afternoon to you.
Just 1 minute. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Professor Chaudhary and my friend Dr. Zaidi, to suggest about the nanotechnology. It's one of the revolution, industrial revolution. And the first word of nanotechnology I was able to say in 1995 in my lecture at Comstech. And by the grace of God, now there are 50 different laboratories in the country which are involved in various aspects of nanotechnology. I think this we already are late. The government of Pakistan has been supporting this in the form of National Commission, which Dr. Chaudhary is trying to revive again. I think that we have missed quite a few years, and now is the time to get into it, into industrial applications. With respect to the COVID, I get every day some new information on the application of nanotechnology in terms of new detection kits and in terms of new treatment for the COVID virus. Very effective. Thank you very much for reviving this. Thank you.